Welcome back to Buying Property in Jamaica 101. I'm Marion Hooker, your Jamaican realtor. Today, we're talking about something every buyer needs to understand before making a purchase: the real cost of buying property in Jamaica. Because here's what a lot of people don't realize: the purchase price is only part of the story. There are closing costs, legal fees, and transaction expenses that you need to plan for, especially if you're buying from overseas or working within a fixed budget. So today I'm going to break everything down for you step by step, so there are no surprises. Let's start with the major costs involved in a typical transaction. 1. Transfer tax. One of the largest costs in a real estate transaction in Jamaica is the transfer tax. This is a government tax that is applied when ownership of a property changes from one party to another. Typically, this tax is 2% of the property value. Now, in most transactions, this cost is paid by the seller, but as a buyer, you still need to understand it because it affects the overall deal structure and negotiations. For example, in some cases, a seller may factor this cost into their asking price, meaning indirectly, you could still be absorbing part of that cost. So even if you're not paying it directly, it's important to understand how it impacts the total transaction. 2. Stamp duty is also calculated at about 2% of the property value, and it is typically shared equally between the buyer and the seller. This fee is what legally validates the agreement for sale and other transaction documents. Without stamp duty being paid, the documents are not considered legally enforceable. So this is not just a fee, it's a critical part of making your purchase official and protected under Jamaican law. 3. Attorney fees. Now let's talk about one of the most important parts of the process: your attorney. In Jamaica, real estate transactions are handled by attorneys instead of title companies, which is different from what many overseas buyers are used to. Attorney fees typically range between 2% and 3% of the purchase price. And this is one area where experience and quality really matter. Your attorney will handle conducting a title search to confirm legal ownership, checking for liens, debts, or encumbrances on the property, preparing and reviewing the agreement for sale, managing the transfer of funds, registering the property in your name with the government. This is your legal protection. If anything goes wrong in a transaction, unclear ownership, unpaid taxes, disputes, your attorney is the one safeguarding your investment. So this is not an area where you want to go cheap or skip steps. 4. Registration fees. In addition to legal fees, there are also registration fees payable to the government. This is the cost of officially recording the property in your name. Typically, this runs at about 0.5% of the purchase price. While it's smaller compared to other costs, it's still a required part of completing the transaction. 5. Realtor fees. Now here's something buyers are usually happy to hear. In Jamaica, real estate commissions are typically paid by the seller, not the buyer. That means you can work with a licensed real estate professional, get guidance, market insights, and negotiation support without paying that commission out of pocket. And honestly, having the right agent can help you avoid costly mistakes that are far more expensive than any commission. Other costs to keep in mind. Now, beyond the standard closing costs, there are a few additional expenses buyers should keep in mind. Valuation report, especially if you're getting a mortgage. Survey report if boundaries need to be confirmed. Currency exchange costs if you're buying from overseas. Initial utility setup and deposits. And if you're buying a furnished or investment property, furnishing and setup costs. Escalation clause, typically 7 to 10%. This permits adjustments to the purchase price in the event of unexpected cost increases during construction of new properties. These aren't always included in your closing estimate, but they can add up quickly if you're not prepared. Total cost breakdown. So, when you add everything together, buyers should generally budget around 4% to 6% of the purchase price in closing costs. For example, if you're purchasing a property for $300,000, you should plan for approximately $12,000 to $18,000 in additional costs. Understanding these costs ahead of time helps you plan smarter, avoid delays, and move through the buying process with confidence. In the next episode, we're going to talk about financing options. and whether foreigners can actually get mortgages in Jamaica. And trust me, the answer might surprise you. If you would like, I can break down the estimated cost for your specific budget. Just drop a comment or reach out directly. See you on the next video.